21 skills to level in the Oblivion Remaster, from spamming jump, annoying the crap out of NPCs.
I doubt it.
And new features for the remaster. Here's the fastest way to level all of the skills in Oblivion's remaster, plus some perks to look out for along the way. Let's go. We'll do these in alphabetical order with a couple of changes just because they're worthwhile talking about together. Starting with Acrobats. This skill affects your ability to jump higher and withstand falls. Now, basically the easiest way to level this up is simply by spamming jump as you explore the world. It will use up some of your stamina and like increase your fatigue, but you just wait for that to replenish and then just continue jumping. If you want to increase it a little bit faster, if you actually jump from a height and take fall damage, you will net yourself more experience. Obviously, just make sure you survive that fall because you can't really get experience if you're dead. But you do want to level this skill up pretty quickly to at least 25, as it will unlock the ability to dodge in combat by holding the block button and pressing triangle on the PlayStation controller or whatever that is for whatever system you're on. It will actually allow you to dodge in combat. So definitely worthwhile to get that extra feature, at least getting to 25. So jump off some cliffs or just jump around as you're exploring and you'll be able to get that pretty quickly. Alchemy is next, which will affect your ability to create potions and poisons with greater benefits along the way. Now for this, you don't necessarily need to actually go and pick plants. You won't gain experience from doing so. You will only gain experience from using a mortar and pestle, which you can either buy or you've probably found a bunch of them throughout the world, and by creating poisons and potions that way. The simplest way that I have personally found to level this up quickly without actually costing yourself a bunch of gold, having to buy all like the potion ingredients, which you totally can, like you can just buy a bunch of ingredients and then just like spam create potions, sell those potions back, make a bit of money that way. But really the easier way to do this is by going to the Skingrad Castle. Now at the stable side of this location, there are two wineries that you'll be able to collect the grapes from. Then the other side of this town is actually a tomato farm where you can collect a bunch of tomatoes. Now by combining tomatoes and grapes, you can create restore fatigue potions. One cycle of just collecting all of these grapes and tomatoes will net you about 80 different potions you can create, which will give you a significant boost to your alchemy skill just by spam creating these as much as you can. You can obviously then go and sell these for their gold and the Mercantile experience. More on that when we get into that section, but this is just a really fantastic way of actually getting a lot of those resources without having to worry about buying a whole bunch of different ingredients, which a lot of people will do. They'll just go buy a whole bunch of different ingredients and then just create them, but this will net you a bunch just of the one specific potion. You can create a ton of it, much easier to sell. And also if you just like fast forward 3 in-game days and go back to this location, you'll have more grapes and more tomatoes that you can actually do as well. Alteration magic affects your ability to cast spells, to breathe or walk on water, open locks, reduce encumbrance, and shield yourself from physical and magical damage. And that's actually the best way to increase this skill is by getting the protect spell, which you can get either if you've picked this as a major skill or if you go to Edgar's discount spells in the Market District in the Imperial City, you'll be able to buy this for relatively cheap. Then just essentially spam this as you're wandering around. That's all you really need to do. Just spam this on yourself and you'll get experience, and this will increase your alteration skill level, and then you'll be able to cast some of those higher level spells, which will then give you more XP as you get further into the game. The armor line is a little bit more of a tricky one to spam to actually increase your XP. So essentially what the armor line does is it allows you to repair like your weapons and armor. Now you do absolutely want to level this up quickly because it will give you the ability to repair magic items, which are definitely the main items you want to be wearing as you get into the mid to late game. Now to level this up, the fastest way to do this really is to just go into the Market District in the Imperial City and buy a ton of repair hammers. By the way, the fighting chance like vendor here will actually train you in armor if you do just want to pay for a couple of skill levels. But then really just out in the world, whenever you defeat any bandits or human enemies, whatever they are, pick up their weapons and armor, repair them, and then just drop them on the ground. Or, you know, keep them with you if you want to sell them. But do that for every single enemy you defeat. Pick up their weapons and armor, repair them with those repair hammers, then just drop them or do whatever. And you'll quickly get this skill up, but it's really the most efficient way to do it, as there isn't like a real easy way to like spam increase that. You can like later down the line do some like custom spell stuff that allows you to like disintegrate armor, then you can repair it straight away, so you can spam it that way. But in the early game, which is what we're focusing on here, is like the easiest ways to level it up without too much effort. That's definitely the way to do it. Athletics is a very easy skill to level up, as it will affect your running speed, your swim, and your sprint, and essentially you just need to move around in the world and this will level up. I do think that like traditional OG Oblivion swimming was faster to level this up. I think sprinting is now. Essentially, you just want to sprint everywhere, or if there's say a wall or something that you can like clip yourself into where you're constantly moving, just like keep, you know, your W key or your analog stick pressed forward where you're just like constantly walking into a wall, and you'll actually increase this skill just over time just by that movement. But ultimately, if you just sprint around the world, like if you don't want to just, you know, stand against a wall for an hour, then you will increase this skill very quickly. The blade skill affects how much damage you deal with blade weapons. For clarity, if you're not sure if something is a blade or a blunt, you can actually check its details in the inventory screen. It will tell you what weapon it is. Also, you can tab across and actually see what skill it's using and what you're actually up to on that skill. The best way to increase the blade skill, and also a couple of others as well, is actually just the arena. So the arena is a location in the Imperial City where you can basically just fight combatants over and over and over again. Now, the best way to increase a lot of these combat skills is to just fight enemies over and over and over again, and this allows you to do that. So obviously you want to use a blade weapon here and just hack away at the various combatants, and this will increase the skill pretty rapidly. And this is exactly the same with the block skill as well. Now, when blocking, this will affect how much damage you mitigate when blocking an attack. Now, the benefit to this is because you don't actually need to defeat the enemy in order to block an attack. You can essentially just block until your heart's content in one arena fight, and then this will level up your block skill until you get sick of standing there and holding block. Obviously, just keep your fatigue managed as well as your health, and you should be fine. Something to note about why blocking is well worthwhile doing and leveling this up is once you get to level 75, which is the expert tier, you'll unlock shield bashing. When you're holding block, you'll then be able to bash the enemy and like briefly stun them, which it does take a while to unlock, but this will definitely allow you to unlock it a bit quicker if you just stand in the arena and hold your shield for as long as you can and don't get bored. And again, this is exactly the same for the blunt weapons. Now, the blunt weapons are all the weapons that don't fit within the blade category, or your warhammers, your axes, your maces, all that good stuff. Now here, essentially you need to do the exact same thing, the arena as well. If you don't want to do the arena for like these, you definitely can just fight enemies out in the world. They'll level up by using the weapon. It's pretty self-explanatory here, but the arena is like the easiest way to farm these if that's what you're essentially trying to do. And blade weapons do get a nice shield benefit from the journeyman perk once you have got to that level. Conjuration affects your ability to summon creatures, weapons, armor, and turn the undead. Now, the easiest way to level this up is simply by casting the Summon Skeleton Conjuration spell. You'll get this automatically if you pick it as a major skill, or you can buy it from that same shop we were talking about earlier in the Alteration section. In the same vein, you essentially just want to walk around and spam this as you go. Like, just spam your little skeleton friend and keep him summoning. You obviously can do this in combat as well, as he's quite beneficial in combat, but ultimately it's just that same thing as just to walk around and spam Summon Skeleton spell, and this will level up your Conjuration spells. The destruction skills are focused on your ability to cast spells to inflict elemental damage and weaken your opponents. Now, you do start out with the flare skill regardless of whatever class and major skills you have picked here, which is a destruction spell. So anytime you use this and hit a target, you do have to hit targets with destruction spells in order to actually get the XP. So in the same vein with our other combat skills, you will want to do this in the arena and just use destruction spells here to level this up. The longer you can survive here and just essentially just continue to spam this attack, then you'll level it up much faster. Also, something to note is that once you have unlocked spell crafting via the major skill, you could create a destruction spell that targets yourself, which will still actually give you experience because it is targeting yourself, it is hitting its target, but you know, we're just focusing on the early game stuff. So it's easier just to spam flare or any other destruction spell on targets that you can just essentially continually fight. Hand to hand is a fun one. There's a couple of cheeky things you can do with hand to hand. So there is an encounter just outside the arena where you'll see two combatants just like practicing unarmed fighting. If you watch these guys for long enough, like it's about a minute and a half, something like that, if you just stand there and watch them, you'll actually just gain 5 points into your hand-to-hand skill just for standing there and watching them. Now, while you're there, by the way, they actually have a chest next to their beds. It's a very hard lock, but I was able to do it with 20 security levels, so hopefully you can as well. Inside that chest, you will find a gauntlet item that will fortify hand-to-hand on self by 20 points. Definitely a fantastic magical item that you can get right next to the arena, but you can't actually use it in the arena because it is an armor piece, and when when you're in the arena, you can only wear the specific armor. So you'll want to be using that while you're out in the world if you're trying to level up unarmed. Otherwise, you can just punch people in the arena and that will level up your hand-to-hand as well. Definitely an easy way to do it. We're going to do these next two together, and that is heavy armor and light armor. Essentially, if you're wearing heavy armor or light armor, they're both kind of the same. It just depends on your personal preference. Now, again, here, the arena is definitely a good way to level this up, like, or any location where you can just like tank hits, because when you take damage, you'll get experience for the armor you're wearing. Definitely would recommend to wear both heavy and light armor until you roughly decide what build you're going to go with, whether you're going to wear heavy or light, because you'll level up both of them if you are taking damage while wearing both types. Now, essentially, as long as you can keep yourself alive via HP or restoration potions, whatever it may be, you can just keep taking those hits, keep getting that XP, whether that be in the arena or wherever, or just while out exploring the world. But this isn't necessarily one you need to like spam to increase as fast as possible, because all it does is reduce its degradation rate, and then eventually it won't weigh anything like encumber you while you're wearing it. So it's not a huge reason to level this up compared to some of the other skills, but definitely can. Oh, and something I wanted to mention as well is that when you pick your armor for the arena, you pick between a heavy and a light armor, but you can actually wear your own personal helmet. So say if you are wearing the heavy arena armor, you could wear a light helmet, so you're getting experience for both of those categories still, or vice versa. If you say you're wearing the light armor, wear a heavy helmet, so you're still getting experience for both. All right. Illusion is your ability to cast spells to charm, conceal, create light, silence, paralyze, command, and affect aggressively. This is another one that you'll either need to go and buy a spell for, or if you did start with Major, you'll have a couple of options, but Starlight is definitely the easiest one to cast. It's also one of the better spells in the game, because holding a torch here is kind of annoying because you can't hold a torch and a sword at the same time, but Starlight allows you to use that to get light, and you can also just spam this as you're wandering around to increase your illusion magic. It's fantastic for at night just to give yourself some light as well, but if you want to increase that illusion magic, just spamming that regularly is definitely the way to go. Marksman is next for the bow, and you've probably guessed the best way to level this up. It's actually just at the arena, and you just shoot people with a bow. It's definitely the easiest way to do it, or just, use it out in the world, whatever floats your boat. But basically just spamming arrows here is the best way to level up your Marksman skill. When you do get benefits from actually doing this via the chance to paralyze the target on hit, or give you the focus mode that you can get as well. Moving on to Mercantile. This one is quite different to OG Oblivion, and it does require a little bit of work. So in OG Oblivion, you used to just be able to sell one arrow and then buybacks, can just continually sell that to level it up. That doesn't work anymore. It seems to be based on the value of the items that you are selling the vendors, and the higher that value, the more XP you'll get. So essentially here, we talked earlier in the alchemy section about those restore fatigue potions that you can create. Now, very simply, you can create these and then sell them for 400 X amount of gold. That will then net you a fair amount of experience, and then just repeating that cycle. Alternatively, you can buy a bunch of alchemical ingredients and then create potions off that and then sell them. Something to note is that you can increase the sale price by increasing your disposition with the vendor and then changing the haggle. So go into the persuade and then persuade them to increase your overall disposition. I'll tell you how to do that properly when we get into the Speechcraft section. But then when you're in the vendor section, you'll see at the bottom you can haggle with that vendor, increase that haggle price until the point where they'll actually accept the amount. You'll know if you've put it too far, because they won't actually sell the item. You can't sell it to them. But usually about half or something like that, you'll get more value bang for your buck for selling them, and then sell those items. You'll be able to get the experience. It is possible, right now in the game, there is an exploit or a cheat, whatever you want to call it, to duplicate items, same as it was in original Oblivion as well. But I don't like cheating, and I want to do it the proper way. That is how you do it the proper way. Mysticism is next. This is your ability to absorb magic, reflect damage, dispels, move objects, sense life, reveal paths, and do other things. Now, Clairvoyance is a starter spell that you'll get, it's a very useful spell just across the board, as it will point you to whatever your current objective is. Fantastic to use to get out of caves, especially because the caves in Oblivion don't have clear loops where you'll just come back to the entrance, so helping if you do get stuck. But also, it doesn't give you a lot of experience to spam. The best thing to spam is minor life life detection, because you will get much more experience for spamming. This does cost more magicka, but that's kind of the trade-off here, is it's much easier to level up your mysticism by spamming this compared to something like clairvoyance that costs basically nothing. And in the same vein, you do want to spam heal minor wounds to increase your restoration, because restoration is your ability to cast spells to restore, fortify, and absorb attributes, cure diseases, and improve resistances. One of the best skills to just use regardless of your build. Now, you will start with heal minor wounds, and you should just run around and spam this, same as all these other spells to increase. Something to note here is it's different to Skyrim in that with a lot of these spells, you don't need to be anywhere near combat to get experience, whereas in Skyrim, you do need to be in combat a lot of times to get experience for using these. Here, you don't at all. You can even have full health with restoration and just simply run around and spam it, and you'll actually get experience for it. Security affects your ability to use lockpicks to open locked doors and containers. Now, this is another one that has quite a ridiculous exploit in that you can lift up a tumbler and lock it in place and then continually press the set tumbler button. So continually try to like reset that tumbler. And every time you do that, you actually gain experience. So you can essentially just like spam it on one lock and max this out to level 100. You can do that if you choose, but you don't have to do that. If you actually want to do that the right way, there is a training chest in the game that every time you unlock it, it immediately locks again. So you can actually level up your skill the correct way. To get this chest or get access to this chest, you need to go down to the Dunbarrow Cave, which is on the south of Anvil, which is the town all the way in the west. On the south, there is a cave called Dunbarrow Cave. Now, when you get near this cave, you'll pick up a quest, and you essentially just need to complete this quest by going into the cave, clearing out the skeletons, which are quite difficult if you're in the early stages of the game. Just be mindful there. Once you've done that, the quest will point you to an individual that you can use to upgrade that cave, as it's essentially a player home. Now, you'll need the security expert upgrade. It does cost 1,000 gold. Once you have done that, if you go back to the cave, you'll then have this training chest inside the cave where you'll be able to continually unlock a hard chest over and over and over again. This is the way that you can upgrade your security skill once they have actually patched out that exploit, which no doubt they will. Sneak is one that has kind of a sneaky exploit as well, I guess, in that you can lock yourself into place. Like say at night, for example, you're in someone's house, they're sleeping. You can just continually walk into a wall, and this will actually level up your sneak skill. So you can just hold down W or leave the controller analog stick pointing up. This will level up your sneak. Alternatively, you can pickpocket and spam open pickpocket, and it will increase your sneak ability as well, but you just need to be mindful not to get caught, especially if you're in the lower stages of your sneaking abilities. But essentially just standing in a corner and pressing W is the easiest way to level up your sneak. Speechcraft is our last skill. Now, leveling this up does require you to use the persuade mechanic, as essentially that's what it is all based around. So the easiest way to level this up really is just continually speechcraft someone and do that mini game. Now, when you use this mini game, your typical objective usually is to max this out, and once you get to about the 70 mark, there'll be too high of a disposition for you to be able to use this mini game. What you want to do is sit with an NPC between say the 25 and 50 mark, where you can just continually use this persuade mini game. Now, if you want to know exactly how this works, by the way, when you do open up the persuade radial menu, there's a couple of things you want to pay attention to. First, you want to hover over each of these sections: admire, joke, coercion, and boast, and pay attention to the NPC's facial expressions. They will smile massively on the ones they really like. They will just have pretty contented face on the ones they think is okay. They'll be really mad on the ones they hate, and then they'll be sort of a little bit disgusted on the ones they don't mind. What you want to do is match up the bars with the ones that'll affect them the most for the positive ones, and the ones that'll affect them the least for the negative ones. So being the ones that have the 4 bars, you want to pick that option on the ones where they're smiling the most, and then on the ones where they're most disgusted, you want to pick the 1 bar option. Essentially, you want to do this minigame multiple times to level up your disposition, but in this case, to maximize the skill progression, you basically want to just constantly pick the 1 bar option and keep their disposition around that 30, 40 mark, whatever it is, and just continually spam this. If it does get too low, your disposition with them is getting too low, you can do a couple properly and play the minigame properly to increase it a bit more, and then you can just keep spamming it, or you can bribe them as well to increase it, just to save you that extra time. time. But essentially you just want to keep clicking start, find wherever the 1 bar option is, follow that around and click it the 4 times, go back to start and do that over and over again. And this will level up your Speechcraft as fast as it is possible to do. But that is all of the skills and the easiest way to level them all up without actually spending all of your gold on various skill vendors. Let me know any that I've missed in the comments down below or any better ways that you have found. Thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza and I hope you have a great day.